be part of a very special presentation, The Art of Krishna Conscious Living. I'm sure this is a topic, which more and more you're very eager to hear about because for the rest of our lives, we all want to continue to practice Krishna consciousness, not even for this life only, but maybe for eternal. We want to continue to be Krishna conscious. So in that way, I would like to introduce our speaker for today's session, His Grace Balavanta Prabhu. So just a brief introduction of Prabhuji. His Grace Balvanta Prabhu has been practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 20 years. He has been a student of the Bhagavad Gita since his college days. Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and he is currently serving as a treasurer and a board member of ISKCON Bahrain. As a professional, he is an investment banker, and he is currently working as a partner with GEO Capital Management. He has done his MBA from Canada and is also a chartered financial analyst from the USA. So let us all welcome Prabhuji in our usual way of chanting 3 times, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So just a humble request before we hear from Prabhu. We'd like to request if all the devotees, at least those of you who are joining on Zoom, if you can please turn on your videos, if it's possible, so that Prabhu can have your beautiful darshan as well. And during the course of the presentation, if you have questions, you can feel free to type those in the chat room, or when the time comes, you can ask directly, no problem. So Balavanta Prabhu, Hare Krishna, and first time we're gonna hear from ISKCON Bahrain, and we're very happy and very fortunate. We'd like to thank Baldev Prabhu for having Prabhu over with us this morning. Hare Krishna, Balvanta Prabhu, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Sachisuta Prabhu, thank you very much for your kind invitation and for your kind words today. Thank you all the devotees for joining in today. First of all, I would like to also express my gratitude to His Grace Baldev Prabhu for allowing me to do this service at your lotus feet. I'm not sure how much justice I can do to this topic, but this entire topic is inspired by one of my very senior devotees and coach who has been coaching me for many for a few months now, and he has actually brought a transformation into my life. So I thought the teachings which I've learned over the last few months, I think I would like to share with the devotee because it helped greatly my Krishna conscious life and the way I was living my life. So before we start, I would like to chant the Mangalacharan prayers, if that is okay. So, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadhantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utha Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganam Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padham Saganam Lagitam Shri Vishakham Vidhamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Bhakta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Shri Hari Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhev cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Prabhu, would you be able to give me rights to share?
Sure, Prabhu.
Presentation.
Yes, Prabhu. Can you try now?
Yeah, Prabhu. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So welcome again to all of you for today's session, a very important session. This session is more, suited to devotees who are living outside the temple, or devotees who are actually, in grahastha ashram, trying to juggle, many things. At the same time, there are parts and things which also will be applicable to devotees who are living in the temple too. So I would like to start. uh, this entire seminar is inspired by two verses, one from Bhagavad Gita and one from Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna actually tells to be perfect what one needs to do. And so I thought, first I would like to share those verses, and then probably dig deep into what are we trying to actually achieve today. So this is the verse, is from Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 20th verse. Karmana eva hi samsiddhim asthita janakadi loka sangraham evapi sampashyam kartum arhasi. Kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by the performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. So this actually, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna uh, in the 3rd chapter, which is entitled Karma Yoga, and where Krishna is telling Arjuna that one should perform their prescribed duties. So this is the this is the advice Krishna is saying, that to attain perfection, what one needs to do, one needs to actually attain, one needs to do prescribed duties. And he is giving the example here of whom? Of Janak Maharaj. And if you look at Janak Maharaj, who was he? Janak Maharaj, anybody knows who was Janak Maharaj? Anybody
The
would like to
father
unmute?
of Sita Devi.
Yeah, father of Sita Devi, father-in-law of Sri Ram, and he was a king of Mithila, correct? And he had so many duties as a father, as a father-in-law, as a king. So many things were actually upon him. And here Krishna is giving the example of a grahastha king, saying that like King Janaka has attained perfection solely by what? By performing prescribed duties. So he's giving example of King Janak Maharaj. Actually, a nice story comes, from Ramayana of Janak Maharaj. How one time, as you know, Janak Maharaj was a great devotee of the Lord, and many saints and rishis would actually visit Mithila, not to actually give association or guide Janak Maharaj, but actually to take association from Janak Maharaj. So they would actually come to Mithila just to associate and take association, and hear from Janak Maharaj. So this was the spiritual position of Janak Maharaj. And some of the new celibates or monks of Mithila would actually see this happening, that all these big saints and rishis are coming in and actually going to the palace of Janaka, and he listening from Janaka. And they would think that Janaka Maharaj is so much living in luxury, immersed in sense gratification. And why is that these saints and rishis are going to him, and where we as celibates, we are monks, we are actually doing so much austerity and so much tapasya, but he is there going to Janak Maharaj and nobody is coming to us. Why is that? So they were thinking like that. And somehow the news came to Janak Maharaj that these saints are actually talking among themselves, or these new called monks or celibates talking among themselves about this. So Janak Maharaj decided to invite all of these people, all of these celibates or monks, for a feast to his palace. And when he invited all of them to the palace, he made sure, he did his research, he made sure what each of these monks liked, what was their favorite dish, what they liked. And he ordered his servants to prepare a personalized feast. For example, if somebody likes rasgulla, he would be served rasgulla. Somebody likes rasmalai, he would be served rasmalai. Or somebody likes gulab jamun, he would be served gulab jamun. Very personalized feast. Somebody likes pulao, then pulao. Somebody likes khichdi. So this was a detailed arrangement Janak Maharaj made for all these all these celibate monks. And when they came, actually, they were so happy because the king was inviting them, so they all accepted the invitation. And when the king invites, they knew that it would be an opulent feast, so all they arrived well in time for the feast. And Janak Maharaj invited them graciously, actually, welcomed them with garland, and with scented water and flowers. And they invited them, took them to the dining area. And then he actually asked them to, all of them, to sit in the dining. And this amazing personalized feast was served to each of them. So and they were looking at them, and they were saying how meticulous was the preparation, how Janak Maharaj took care of each one of us, like that. And as one of the saints were about to eat, or one of the monks were about to eat, he actually looked at the other monk, and actually he indicated something. He indicated to look at the ceiling. And on the ceiling, what was there? The ceiling, there was a huge sword hanging. And there was not one sword. Every chair, the top of every chair, the huge sword hanging. And the sword was actually hung by a very, very thin kind of a thread, that it would fall anytime. And they were really scared, it would fall, and they would be killed. So they wanted to get up and run away. So Janak Maharaj said, no, you have to sit, you have to honor. And now you cannot say no to the king, and at the same time, they were so scared about this, the big sword which is hanging, on top of their head and would fall any time. So they decided actually to, eat very fast so that they can get out of that area and just that. So immediately they all ate it very fast, and they went and actually, washed their hands. And then they went to Janaka and asked, why was this? Why did you do this? So Janaka asked, but how was the feast? We prepared everything with very meticulously in detail. How was it? He said, how can we focus on the feast when there is that sword which is actually on the top of our head? So Janak Maharaj said, similarly, death can come at any moment. So how can you think that with all the opulence around me, how can I focus on that sense of enjoyment? I need to focus on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I just wanted to show you all that even though I'm living in opulence, our focus is our focus is on Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah. So Janaka is actually showing how, Yukta Vairagya, that even with all the opulence, he was detached, and how he was using all that opulence in the service of Krishna. Similarly, if you look at the biggest devotee of Krishna, which is Radharani and the gopis, how they are actually serving. How they are serving. They are actually serving Krishna as a paramour, right? They are actually serving their husbands and doing their prescribed duties very nicely during the day, with no complaints. They couldn't complain, their husbands couldn't complain. And they were doing nicely, but their focus was all the time, their consciousness was what? Their consciousness was to always think about Krishna. Always actually they're meditating on Krishna while they were cooking, cleaning, everything what they were doing at home. The gopis' focus was 100% on Krishna. So the prescribed duties, all of us also have different prescribed duties. We have different roles in our life, right? So you are a husband, you are a wife, you are a spouse. You are a child, you are a son, you are a father, you are a mother, you are a temple servant. So many different roles we are also playing. Yeah, we have to do prescribed duties in our life too. At the same time, keeping our consciousness focused on Krishna. That is the art of actually Krishna conscious living. So for that, there are some enablers which we need to actually also understand. Those enablers are important for us to understand, because if we do not understand that, then we cannot sustain this Krishna conscious living, thinking about Krishna all the time for a longer period of time. So I would like to actually look at another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which actually is a very, very important verse. And I'm going to highlight some of the points which Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport for this verse. So this is the verse. It is in the first canto, second chapter, verse, where it is said, Kamasya nendriya prithir labho jivata yavata jivasya tattva jignasa nartho yas cheha karmabhi. So what is the translation here? Life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation. Since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth, nothing else should be the goal of one's work. So what is the purpose, what is the translation again saying? Life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire a healthy life or self-preservation. Since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth, nothing else should be the goal of one's work. So I would actually like to actually bring out some of the points Sri Prabhupada mentions here in the verse, actually very very important, actually in the purport of this verse. He says that here says Sri Prabhupada says Bhagavatam says that one should not live for sense gratification. One should satisfy the senses only in so much as required for self-preservation and not for sense gratification. Because the body is made of senses, which also requires certain amount of satisfaction, there are regulative directions for satisfaction of such senses. But the senses are not meant for unrestricted enjoyment. In every sphere of life, therefore, the ultimate end must be seeking after the absolute truth. Very important thing that Prabhupada is saying, if you see that there is a certain amount also satisfaction is required for the senses. The third point, Prabhupada says, because this body is made of senses, so there is required. See, sense gratification is available in abundance even for animals, correct? For like us, it's available for animals, like animal life also. But as we all know, because of this human body, we have viveka buddhi, right? The intelligence to discriminate. Because of that, what is important is to understand that this senses has to be used for giving pleasure to Krishna. Yes, there is requirement of a certain amount of satisfaction, but it has to be regulated. There has to be a regulated sense gratification, or satisfaction of senses has to be done. It is not meant for unrestricted sense enjoyment. So based on these two verses, one has to do the prescribed duties, and one has to actually, yes, there is a requirement of certain amount of satisfaction, but no unrestricted sense enjoyment. Based on those two verses, we will start, today's actually session, Art of Krishna Conscious Living. So this is our life, correct? So our life, we are juggling different balls, right? So what are these four balls in our life? Anybody can tell? They can unmute. Hare Krishna. We are also juggling, right? For example, I will tell one is our spiritual life. Then what are the three other things? Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, our work situation,
Yeah,
our
our
life.
professional life. Yeah, professional life. Yes. Spiritual life, professional life. Then
our family situation, our family
yes,
life.
our personal life, our family life, which is very important. Yes. And the fourth one?
Social life.
Yeah, social life. Yes. So these four balls, everybody is trying to juggle in their lives. One is a family life. Yep. One is a spiritual life, which is very important. We understood intellectually that spiritual life is important and we have to actually perform devotional service. We have understood that. So that's very important. Then we have our social life, right? We are actually living in a society. So we have certain commitments, certain things which we need to do, right? So that is our social life. At the same time, there is a professional life for people who are actually working outside. So they have their professional life where they have to actually balance that out. They have to make sure that all these four balls, they're continuously juggling. And what happens if there is an imbalance? What happens? One of the ball falls. And mostly what we have seen that when you are new to Krishna consciousness, the ball that falls is the spiritual life ball. Immediately it falls, because you're trying to manage your professional life, you're trying to manage your family life, social life, and the ball which actually falls very easily is the spiritual life. And then when you actually continue and you progress, then you're able to manage your spiritual life. Then some other balls, like your family life or a social life, one of those balls fall. So this is a continuous, and there has to be that balance is required. And balancing is not basically something which is actually comes automatically. We need to train ourselves. It's an art which needs to be there. For example, if I look at this pencil, okay, and if I want to actually balance this pencil on my finger like this, right? So if I'm going to balance this, the pencil has to be at a certain point only. It needs to touch the finger, right? At that certain point. Anywhere else, it will become off balance and it will fall. You need actually the art for actually balancing this pencil on this actually. So Prabhupada says that having a spiritual life is like walking on a razor edge, like walking on this rope, like this girl you see in the picture. She's actually using a stick, and there is like pots which she is balancing on the top. So there are so many hats which a devotee is wearing throughout the day, and he has to balance all the time. And it's a real art. It is not easy actually. So from our perspective itself, there are four things which are actually so it is very important to understand that the body which Krishna has given to us, this body which has been given to us, this body is the only vehicle through which you can create value in your life and in this world. This body is a vehicle. Yeah, do you all agree that this body is the only vehicle? Without this body, you can't. Yes, there's nothing else actually. This body is the only vehicle which has been there to actually create, right? So today, so we will actually analyze and understand how to use this body, to create value in your life. So when we say that this body includes what? Our senses, our emotions, our mental faculty, and what is the definition of bhakti yoga for that matter. So when one uses our body, our senses, our emotions, our mental faculties to reach the ultimate goal, that is Krishna Prem, then we call that is bhakti yoga. I repeat, when we use our body, that includes our senses, our emotions, our mental faculty to reach the ultimate goal, then that is actually bhakti yoga. That means the path of devotion we are in. And as you know Bhagavad Gita, you are all students of Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Shastri. So you all know that bhakti yoga is the easiest and the simplest process, correct? Compared to Ashtanga yoga, where also you need to actually do a lot of tapasya and all. Bhakti yoga is the easiest process. But at the same time, even though it's easy, you need to actually balance things out, because there has to be a synergy between body, mind, and heart. If there is no synergy between the body, mind, and heart, your Krishna conscious life can become miserable. Yeah. So it's very important that synergy is there. So yeah, this is very, very important slide actually in today's presentation to understand. You all must have heard this fable or the story about the goose that gave the golden eggs, right? There was a farmer who was very poor, down on his luck. He couldn't actually do anything but to meet the ends meet. He used to work really hard, but he still remained very, very poor. And one day in the morning when he came out of his house, he saw a golden egg lying next to his favorite goose. And when he saw that, he thought that somebody is actually fooling with him. Somebody must have painted the egg as golden. So he went and touched the egg, and finally he realized, yes, this egg is actually really golden. And then what happened? The golden egg, his favorite goose started actually producing golden egg every day. And soon he became wealthy. His wealth started to expand, and he became wealthy. And you know what happens when wealth comes? When you actually start getting more and more money, more and more wealth, what happens? You become greedy. Yeah, that is actually it comes along with that. Along with wealth comes greediness also. So this farmer thought, why should I feed the goose, because that's eating the front part, and the back part is the only part which I require, which gives a golden egg. So let me actually cut the goose. And what happened? The goose died, and there was no more golden eggs. Okay, so this story actually defines, this is a classic definition of effectiveness. What does effectiveness mean in our life? Okay, what does effectiveness mean? Okay, first we have to try to define. Effectiveness means getting your results in such a way, getting your results in such a way that you can get more of them in the future. Okay, getting your results in such a way that you can get more of them in the future. But for that, what we need to do, we need to balance between the production, in this case the X, and the production capability. which means the asset which you have, which is the goose, correct? When we actually are able to balance the production capability and the production, there is actually balance. And production is our desired results. And what is the production capability here? Here it is our body, and we need to take care of this body, mind, heart, and spirit. Therefore, it is very important that we need to have a balance between the two. Because if you just take care of the production, what will happen? And you do not care of the mind, body, heart, and spirit, you won't last long in the spiritual life. You will not last long. So it is very important from this example to understand that the production capability, you should not just kill the goose. You should not. You should actually maintain and actually take good care of the goose. I have to have balance of that. For example, how many of us can keep driving the car without filling a gas? For how long? After some time, the car will stop, right? You need to fill the gas. Similarly, taking care of this body, is very, very important actually. So, so one who is intelligent, one who is buddhiman, what does he do? He actually, balances between self-preservation and getting life's greatest goal. He has to do self-preservation, but also achieve his greatest goal. Like Prabhupada says in that purport, right? This word, self-preservation. So one has to do self-preservation, but at the same time, achieve his greatest goal in life. That is to become, purify ourselves, correct? That to actually change our consciousness to become Krishna conscious, actually become a pure devotee of Krishna. That is our goal, to become a pure devotee, purify our heart. But for that, it's also important to actually do some self-preservation. Okay, so there are 4 aspects. The human beings, all human beings are 4-dimensional. What are the 4 dimensions every human being has? One is physical, second is mental, third is spiritual, and fourth is emotional. Okay, so what are the physical parts? So in physical, we will talk today about diet, exercise, nutrition, and sleep in the physical. Okay, these are 4 things which are actually connected to physical. What is mental? Reading, communicating, being a good listener, being an empathetic listener. So that's all are related to the mental, faculties, which are important. Then emotional, social, which is relationship building, relationship with our spouse, relationship with our children, relationship with our parents, relationship with our fellow devotees in the temple, relationship with our colleagues at workplace. So many things are there which we'll talk about today. And the last one which we want to talk about is about being spiritual. And in spiritual, we'll just today focus on our sadhana and some other auxiliaries related to our sadhana. Okay, so there are 4 inherent needs of a human being. 4 inherent needs to live, which is a physical need to live. Like we all want to live, right? We don't want to die now, correct? So that is a physical need which we have. To love and to be loved. That's an emotional need which we have, all of us have. And then to learn. We want to grow. We want to actually just not stagnate, right? We want to grow, and we want to actually, be a new learner every day. So learn some new things every day. So that is a mental need which is there. And then the 4th need which we have is to live a legacy. That is a spiritual need which we have. So what are the 4 things? To learn, to love, to live, and to live a legacy, right? So these are the 4 things which are important actually, and which is required actually. Yeah. So these are the 4 dimensions which every human beings have, and we need to take care of all these 4 dimensions. If we do not take care of all these 4 dimensions, then it will create a problem in our Krishna conscious life. Okay, so first we talk about physical one, where we don't talk much about in our Krishna conscious classes and lectures, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that we are not this body, we are the soul. That's right. But that soul is currently in this body for some more years, right? So to make sure that the soul and body is together, and this we are able to practice nice Krishna conscious service, we have to actually talk about these physical things. The first thing which I want to talk about, which everybody likes, and that is the one thing which so many devotees are attracted throughout this world, is Krishna Prasadam, the diet part, right? So everybody loves Krishna Prasad. Yes. So what happens in ISKCON, I've seen that, when actually I've seen people actually, like Gaur Gopal Prabhu says, that, that when the fat and the fat around your stomach increases so much after you actually keep on eating prasadam and you don't take care of your body at all, your kamar, your kamar in Hindi it's called kamar. The waist becomes kamra, it becomes like a room. It's that big it becomes. So the diet is a very, very important part, because Krishna Prasadam is very important, not only to maintain your Krishna consciousness, but at the same time to actually take care of this body, right? The production capacity, right? I'm talking now about, not about the production itself. I'm talking about the production capacity, which is the asset which we have, which is this body. So there are few rules if you can follow in life during this prasadam. So if you see, the first rule is rule of 3-4, 3 to 4. That means what? Every day you need to have 3 vegetables and 4 fruits, or vice versa, like 3 fruits and 4 vegetables in your diet. That's very important to actually have. Yeah. Right now, if you see, 70% of our diet contains of 3 things. Right, 70% of our diet, especially Indians mostly. I'm not sure about what's happening in that part of the world, but where I live here in Middle East and closer to India, there are 3 things which are, unfortunately today, 60 to 70% of the diet is 3 things. What are 3 things? Rice, right? Wheat and corn. I'm not sure, Prabhu, where I know Sachituta Prabhu, there I don't know what is happening, but this is the 3 things where most of our diet, actually 60 to 70% of diet, what we eat is rice, wheat, or corn. Yeah. And that is why one of the reasons when people grow old, when they achieve the age of 65, 70, you see that they develop Alzheimer's, dementia, and all these diseases. Yeah, because the diet is not right. Diet is not right. So one has to actually eat to the rainbow. What does eat to the rainbow means? Eat a colorful diet. Prepare a colorful bhoga for Krishna. Colorful bhoga means, you need to have different colors. You need to have green, you need to have palak, or what you call as spinach in your thing. You need to have red pepper, or you need to have beetroot. You need to have white things, bananas. So many different colors, you should have in your bhoga when you actually offer to the Krishna. So you eat a colorful diet. Just don't eat white rice, too much, or just brown chapati too much. No, you need to have different varieties of things when you offer to bhoga to Krishna. So that is very important. Then this great Chinese proverb, you must have already definitely seen in WhatsApp for sure, about the certain foods mimic our body, right? So that is why, example, the walnut actually resembles our brain, or the kidney beans represent our kidney, or the carrots, which are the center, there is a black, and there are fibers around. So that represents our eyes. It's good for our eyes. Or for example, the tomatoes represent our heart. It's good for heart. So we need to understand this, what is good, and we have to have a balanced diet rather than having a very, very unhealthy diet. You should actually try to focus. Yes, it's our body, and even though we are not this body, we are temporary, but we need to maintain our body well. So we have to take care of this body, and one of the important things is to actually have a balanced, nice diet. So it is that's why it is said that if you you actually eat little bit bitter, little bit sweet, little bit spicy, all the things are included. If you actually read that bhajan where we talk about when we offer to Krishna, so we say that bhaja Shri Gaura Hari, that bhajan is there, where we talk about different things which is offered to Krishna. So there is something which is bitter, something which is sweet, something which is spicy, all these things, achar, everything is there, but it's a well-rounded, well-balanced diet. Actually, it was never in the past that 70 to 80% of your diet is rice. It's not like that. You need to have actually a well-balanced diet. So that is very important. And then this is also very important, intermittent fasting. Yeah. So we see nowadays, when we talk about, especially with new devotees, we talk about fasting. People say, oh, I cannot fast, Prabhuji, it gives me a headache. I'm not possible to fast. It's very, very difficult. So it is said that people who says that they cannot fast, precisely those are the right candidates to fast. These are the people who are the right candidates to fast. When a healthy human being cannot fast, that means what? Bodies are out of whack. there are some serious problems to your body, and you need to actually clean yourself. So we actually need to give rest our body. Srila Prabhupada actually had devised a formula like that. He would say that there should be enough rest between two meals. So how was Srila Prabhupada's time? You would have take a breakfast at around 10 o'clock, then there'll be an 8 hours break, and then 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you take an early dinner, okay? And then you have a 16-hour break before the next breakfast. That 16-hour break or the 16-hour fasting was actually helpful for our body to rest and clean ourselves. And our Vedic tradition is such a way that fasting is part of our life. Every 15 days we have Ekadashi, correct? Now, Ekadashi with so many, developments, new prasadam, ideas which Matajis are bringing in, it becomes, we don't know whether it's fasting or feasting on Ekadashi day. But we have to understand that there has to be a break. And Ekadashi every 15 days, fasting is very, very good for our health. For example, Amrendra Prabhu was saying in one of the classes that if you actually fast properly on Ekadashi, okay, you're not nirjal, but at least sajal, just drinking some hot water, or drinking some, hot and, something like that. If you do that, automatically what will happen is that you will look younger and you will actually lead a long life. And the probability of you getting a cancer would actually diminish by 70 to 80%, actually. Amrendra was telling in the Glories of Ekadashi. It's available on YouTube, but he exactly mentions what happens to the body when you fast for 36 hours. What different kind of, what are different things which are secreted in our body, and how it helps actually to live a longer life, healthier life, and you would actually look young and beautiful. So that is very important actually, to have proper intermittent fasting in our actually daily our diet. Yeah, so it's not that you can keep on continuously eating whatever time. So it is why, that's why it is called regulated means you have a time to eat. Like when I was young, my father, I used to see, he would actually have 3 times meal, not like 2 times, but he would actually be regulated. Like 1 o'clock means 1 o'clock he would have his lunch, right? 7:30 in the evening dinner means 7:30 in the evening. 8:30 he would sleep means 8:30 he would sleep. So that was very regulated in even one generation before. And I see now the next generation which is there, because I'm involved in youth preaching here, and I see that all these young kids, they actually go to bed at 4:30. Brahma Muhurta is when they actually go to bed, and they actually spend a lot of time with the digital devices before going to sleep actually. So that's very important actually to happen. And fasting, if you look at from a neuroscience point of view, um, what happens when you do fast. There are 2 things which happen when you fast. Okay, one thing which happens is that you automatically become more intelligent. Okay, well, you become intelligent, and your memory power, your long-term memory and short-term memory, both become powerful. And that is why, if you see, Mahatma Gandhi, Socrates, all these, they knew the secret, of this fasting. What is the advantage a human body gets through fasting. That's why they used to fast regularly. And if you follow our tradition, Krishna conscious life also, you see that so many days we are fasting. We fast like up to 12 o'clock, up to 7 o'clock. There's so many days. Even in other traditions, like for example, I live in a country where Islam is followed. Mainly, majority of the population follows Islam. They also fast for an entire month, and very religiously they, from morning, from sunrise to sunset, they give intermittent fasting. So in every faith, every religion, like for example in Christianity also we talk about Lent, where they actually fast for certain amount of hours, or for certain things during that period. So it's very important to understand that fasting is something which has been actually ingrained in all the cultures. Why? So that we can actually take care of this body. The production capacity has to be taken care, and this is why this fasting has been included. And like if you go deeper into neuroscience, understand that if you fast, the brain actually secretes neurons, more neurons while fasting, which actually make your brain sharper, and then your memory also sharper actually. So this is something which I wanted to speak about diet. Now we will go to the next important thing, which devotees actually completely ignore. They do not actually follow at all, or if they follow, if they yeah. So I wanted to say intelligent fasting area becomes also powerful. So exercise. Okay, exercise is something which we need to understand that it's very, very important for a devotee to do that. But I see that, nowadays, Prabhu, we are not this body. Why should we exercise? Why should we take care of our body? This is a general thing. And when I came to Krishna consciousness also, I used to say the same thing to others. Prabhu, why should I take care of body? We should just focus on chanting the holy names of the Lord. But if you want to chant good rounds, your body and mind should be, actually, healthy. Only then you'll be able to chant good rounds. So whenever generally we ask devotees when they achieve the age of 40, 45, so when they ask devotees, what, Prabhu, are you doing some exercise? What he tells generally, he tells that, yes, Prabhu, yes, I take a 20-minute brisk walk, or I take a 20-minute walk every day. So I'm sorry to say that this just a 20-minute walk is not enough. Okay, 20-minute walk is not enough. When we talk about exercise, it should include three things. One is flexibility. That is, neuromuscular system should be flexible. Your neuro, like when you do yoga, you do stretches, every day, that should be flexible. Your body should be flexible. Second is endurance. Endurance means what? That we should, like, for example, if you climb 5 to 6 floors, by stairs, you should not be gasping, or you should not have chest pain. Okay, that means endurance. How many of us today, even at young age, I see kids also, say 5 floors, not possible for them to actually climb. They feel like they are gasping, like, they have never been. So no stamina, no endurance actually in their body. Then third is strength. This is very important for an age group who has achieved that 40 years plus. It's very important, because what happens is that when you achieve 45 years, when you are 45 years old, there is a transformation which happens in the body. Our body muscle is there, it starts depleting. Like it is said, according to doctors, there's 1 pound, closer to 1 pound or half a kg of body muscle actually starts depleting. And by the time 55, for example, 45 to 55, and if you live a very sedentary lifestyle, you don't do any exercise, you just sit on the sofa and all that, it is said that you will lose 5 kgs of muscles, and you will actually gain 5 kilos of fat. So your weight remains the same, but what has happened? 5 kilos of muscle have gone away, and it has been replaced by 5 kgs of fat. And when this muscle layer depletes in your body, then what happens? You are to actually diseases like diabetes and other other long-term diseases which happens. So very important to understand that strength is very important. Some muscle training, some strength. So what should we do as devotees? What is the things which you do? So according to doctors says that the maximum heart rate of a person is 220 beats per minute. It's 220 beats per minute. Okay, now my age, for example, is 40 years. I deduct 40, that becomes 180. Okay, if I do 60% of 180, what will happen? It will become 108. So 108 beats per minute for 30 minutes. You should maintain in a day. If you are able to maintain 100 beats per minute, okay, of heart rate, then, for example, you can do either brisk walking, cycling, swimming, whatever you like to do, then it is said that you will continue to burn calories for the remaining 23.5 hours. For half an hour, if your heart operates at 108 beats per minute, then for the remaining 23.5 hours, your calories are actually getting burned throughout the day. So one would ask, how much should one exercise? It is said that 150 to 180 minutes per week, that's like 30 minutes per day, is what one needs to exercise. But then you have to make sure that you are able to reach that heart rate. If you are able to reach that heart rate, what will happen is that the heart is telling you that, oh Prabhu, give me 30 minutes and I will take care of your body for 23.5 hours. Only 30 minutes, and I will take care of the body for the rest of the day. So that's what we need to do. Yeah. How many of us are actually doing it? How many of us are actually exercising properly, regularly? How many of us are doing? It is in Hindi, there is a saying, I don't know how many of you know Hindi. We have to be a lambe sagoda. For example, a grahastha, for example, somebody like me, who has spent most of our time as professionals, now probably, I would be working till 50 or 55, right? And by the time 55, when this body is of no use, I say that, okay, Krishna, now I am ready, I have retired, now I want to do some service. But at the time, there is a desire to do service, but your body cannot actually cope up with that service unless you take care of that body. So then, people have to take care of you, right? So throughout the life, we're not able to do service, and then when you retire, people are taking care of you. You're taking service from Krishna or from Krishna's devotees. This is not what we want, right? We want to do service for Krishna. If we want to do service for Krishna, then we have our body, like our production capacity, which we talked about, that has to be actually good, in good condition. For that, we need to actually make sure that you're having a proper diet, we're able to exercise at least 30 minutes a day, every day. That's very important. The third point which we wanted to talk about is sleep. Yeah, sleep actually is the most important. Actually, I like to talk about this, especially in the devotee community, because sleep is like worship. Actually, it's very, very sacred. And Prabhupada says that one's sleep needs to be regulated. One's sleep should be regulated. Why sleep is important? Because sleep affects actually our every cognitive process. It affects our decision making, it affects our productivity, it affects our performance at workplace, and actually also our devotional sides. It affects our memory power, it affects our retention, everything, right? Srila Prabhupada used to say that too much sleep makes you lazy, and too less sleep makes you crazy. That's what Srila Prabhupada used to say. Too less sleep makes you crazy. And I've seen that, I'm sorry to say this, but I've seen many ISKCON devotees around the world are sleep deprived. Are sleep deprived actually. And this is the harsh fact of life. Because why? Because you actually end up staying late, and then you want to get up early in the morning of our life. There are four things. And one thing which a devotee easily decides to sacrifice or decides to give up is sleep. But you have to understand, when you give up sleep, your entire cognitive process gets affected. You're not efficient at work. You're not efficient. For example, one devotee here, in Bahrain itself, we saw that, he actually lost his job because he was sleeping at work. Because what was happening, he was sleeping late in the office. Then he would go actually wake up early, finish his 16 rounds and reach office. And then at work, he would sleep. He would actually fall asleep. And when he fell asleep, what happened? He lost his work. Today, he's in difficult condition today. Yeah, he's not able to take a job, get a new job because of Corona situation. What's happening? We know that, that sleep is actually required. But then how much time, how much to sleep? That is the question. Srila Prabhupada says that 6 to 7 hours. 6 to 7 hours is actually enough. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. But then there is a rider attached to it. What is the rider? 7 hours is enough, but your quality of sleep should be good quality. Is your quality of sleep. And for quality of sleep to be good, you have to have a regulated time to sleep and regulated time to get up. Normal people generally requires 7 to 8 hours, depending on your body rhythm. Some people like 7 hours, but 6 is minimum, Prabhupada said. But depending on what time you sleep, and then 7 to 8 hours is where there. But we have seen so many martyr, or in ISKCON, they actually and they actually are they actually have this bragging rights that, Prabhu, I sleep only for 4 hours. 4 hours sleep is good enough for me. But then I can tell you that who sleeps for 4 hours for long term, they are actually setting themselves for failure, not only in their professional life but also in Krishna conscious life. So you need to actually understand this, very important. As Bhagavad Gita said, yuktahara viharasya. So we need to understand that when we sleep, our brain does not sleep. What does our brain do? Our brain actually gets rest. It consolidates what you have learned throughout the day, right? It consolidates what you have learned. So brain gets rest. And it is said, and it is commonly believed and understood also, even the science is now telling that the sleep between 9 to 12 midnight, 9 to 12, 9 p.m. to 12 midnight, every 1 hour of sleep which you do, the brain gets 2 hours rest. The brain gets 2 hours rest. And between 3 to 6, between midnight to 3 o'clock, between midnight to 3 o'clock, every hour you sleep, every hour, 1 hour of sleep gets 1 hour of brain rest. The brain rest, you get 1 hour. But after, and from 3 to 6, what happens? Between 3 to 6, every hour of sleep, you get half hours rest. That's the problem. So, and after 6 hours, brain generally do not get much rest actually. So this is how the brain functions, or the brain actually works. So have you seen any animals, any birds, violating their sleep patterns, their times actually? Has it ever happened that on a Saturday or a Sunday, you come out and you look out, and you see out of your window and there is no birds chirping? Because why? because the birds are thinking, okay, now it's weekend, now Saturday, Sunday, so let me sleep also till 9 o'clock. Does that happen ever? It's only human beings, who actually starts violating the laws of nature. They actually think themselves as very intelligent people, and they actually violate. So that's why when we devotee sleeps, as in the temple, like I used to be connected to Radha Gopinath temple, I see that devotees sleep there at 9 o'clock and get up at 3 in the morning, 9 to 3. So that's basically 6 hours of sleep. But how much rest their brain is getting? 9 hours. 9 hours of rest their brain is getting. So when they get up in the morning, they're able to chant their rounds nicely, everything you do. So many of us sleep 6 hours, but the timing is wrong. They sleep from 11 to 5 or 12 to 6. If somebody sleeps from 12 to 6, how many hours of rest the brain is getting? 4.5 hours. 6 hours of sleep, 4.5 hours of rest. So people get up, very, 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 what you call irritable and tired kind of thing. So what time to sleep? Generally retiring early, but by 8:30 to 9, and then getting up early. That is the best for a devotee. That's how a devotee should live their life. Then, as I said, many ISKCON devotees are sleep deprived. So how do you know that you are sleep deprived? Every morning, if you need an alarm clock to wake up, that means you are sleep deprived. Or when you wake up, you feel tired, you want to go to bed again, or you feel that I'm really irritated when you get up. So these are the actually signs that your sleep is, you are not sleeping enough. And then some devotees, actually I see that they say, Prabhu, don't worry, Prabhu, I sleep like weekdays 4.5 5 hours, but on the weekends, during the day, I just actually compensate for all the weekly less sleep. But I can tell you, my friends, that that's you cannot compensate for your that 24 hour of sleep by sleeping more hours during the day during the weekend. Because you need to get adequate sleep in that 24 hours. Like you have to chant 16 rounds in that 24 hours. Similarly, you need to get adequate sleep. You cannot just say, okay, I'm going to chant 8 rounds during the week, and then the weekend I'm going to chant all the extra rounds. No, that's not possible. Similarly, sleep also, you cannot do that. Okay, so sleep lost in the 24 hours is sleep lost forever. Then another point, which is there, sleep in darkness. It's very important. Because we should not put night lamps, because it goes against our body's salt and grain. You have a gland in your brain that secretes a thing called melatonin, and which is a cancer fighting agent. So it is said that if it is not fully dark, if there is light, then the brain does not secretes enough of that agent. So it's very important that you sleep in darkness, very nicely, without actually disturbing. The last thing, which is very, very difficult, very, very tough right now, in this world, in this age, that switch off all digital devices 45 minutes prior to sleep. So you should not actually look at your mobile phone or your computer 45 minutes prior to sleep. And this is very challenging, right? Very, very difficult, actually. This is when you actually, before going to bed, it's when you check your social media accounts, WhatsApp accounts, to see if I messaged all of them or not. But it is proven now that any time in the front of the screen before sleeping, half an hour before sleeping, affects the quality of the sleep. It's actually proven by science. So very, very important that you keep your mobiles away at least 45 minutes prior to sleep. All digital devices away is very, very important. So this is what I wanted to share about sleep, actually, with all of you. Then we talk about this is what we discussed about physical things. 3 things we discussed: diet, exercise, and sleep. Very, very important for a nice Krishna conscious life. Now we'll talk about the mental aspects. Correct? So mental aspects, Srila Prabhupada, wrote so many books for us. Correct? And he worked so hard that until last minute, before he was actually about to actually leave this world, he was dictating on his dictaphone. He was giving purports of Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you ask today an ISKCON devotee, for example, I was looking, like when I actually started getting coached under this devotee, who actually changed my life. I was looking at the amount of screen time I used to have on my mobile screen time. You can check if you have a phone. It tells you that how many hours you actually look at the screen. Okay, Okay, so it is said that average I was looking at around 5 to 5.5 hours a day out of 24 hours on my screen. Okay, now actually I've changed my time. Now I am looking at around, my average has fallen down to around 1 hour, 1 hour 15 minutes now. Yeah. And then what does it has helped is that it has helped me to actually free a lot of time in my life, which has helped me. Because before, if somebody would ask me that, Prabhu, do you read Srila Prabhupada books? Yes, I do reading, but I was not doing it regularly. I was not doing it regularly. And the usual excuse I would give is that I don't have the time. So please stop bluffing yourself. If your answer is like mine, that you don't have the time, so please stop bluffing yourself, saying that you don't have time. Please be honest. Say that no, reading is not my interest, or reading is not my priority in my life. That is why I don't read. Let us be honest and don't say that I don't have time. That's why I don't read. I've seen many devotees now. Actually, the amount of reading generally among ISKCON devotees, has actually fallen quite a bit now. So one has to actually, if you are not able to actually read, which Prabhupada has put so much energy on it, then we are not doing justice to Srila Prabhupada. And it is very important and should be one of your top priorities in life. Have a regulated time for reading. Have a regulated time for reading. You have to take out time for reading. And devotees who are actually working outside, who are actually having a work life, who are professionals. Okay, it just that not mean that you just read scriptures. Okay, you also have to read actually to make sure that you're not neglecting your professional life. So you need to read a variety of subjects. Reading something which is nonsense like fiction and novels is not recommended at all, but reading scriptures regularly and having fixed time every day and reading variety of professional subjects, because in this world now, which is very very temporary, your jobs are also temporary. No job is permanent today, correct? Unless you keep on upgrading your skills, it is very tough to survive. You need to be actually doing well. So it is said that nowhere it is said that devotees should not be first class, correct? Srila Prabhupada also said that my devotees should be first class gentlemen. That means what? They should be knowledgeable. Even when they are doing their professional work, they should be coming at top. And no matter what, there's an example which is given that does not matter the shape or size of the utensils, but when you actually boil the milk, it doesn't matter which utensil you boil. What happens? The cream will always rise on the top. And devotee, these are the devotee communities. These devotees, we are actually the cream of the society. We should be the cream of the society. So we always should actually come on the top. And for that, we need to be upgrading ourselves. We need to keep on reading. For example, I have started now to read one professional book every month. One professional book every month. So that means you read 12 in a year, and probably in one decade you might read around 120 books. So it is said that if you are reading 120 books in a decade, you will become 10% of the most knowledgeable person in this planet. 10% of the most knowledgeable person in this planet. This is the amount of reading now people are doing. So it's very important that you just do not ignore your professional life. You actually also read, but at the same time have a regulated time to read Krishna conscious philosophy and Krishna conscious devotees. That's why I was talking about the production capacity. What should you have, and the production capability? We should focus on that also. Now the next thing also, this is basically for Grahastha families, which we're talking about. Taking care of families' emotional needs. This is also quite neglected in ISKCON today. Very very neglected in ISKCON, and you see the number of fractured relationships between husband and wives is on rise today. The amount of divorce rates which ISKCON is seeing at alarming rates today, because of emotional needs are not being taken care of the family. Today, we are into this philosophy of impression management. Impression management, that's what it's called. When we go to a temple, our relationship with devotees in the temple, our relationship with our god brothers, that's very good. People have extremely good opinion about us. Such a great devotee, such a nice devotee, such a humble and gentle devotee. He knows how to deal with people. But when the same thing, when I have to deal with my spouse or the children, nothing comes in. You need to actually give your evaluation sheet to your wife or even to your child to see, okay, how do you rate yourself? How do you rate like you should give a evaluation sheet to your son and say, okay, please rate me. Tell me, how do I rate myself as a father? And out of 10, how do you rate yourself? Very important. Okay, that's why, if we have to ask that to our spouse, that how do I rate myself as a husband or a wife. That is very important to understand, and we should have that courage to ask. And also, we have to understand that if something goes wrong in our life, for example, if something happens at work, something, the only people who are going to be behind us, who only people who will be always with us, is our family. They'll always be there for you, even if you have committed mistake, even if the mistake is on your side. Okay, the entire world will go against you, but the family will be always with you. The family will be always with you. So devotees and friends, under the garb of the spirituality, it does not mean that this is a bodily, it's that this family, taking care of the family's emotional needs, is a bodily concept. We should not neglect that. We should not neglect that. Today, as I said, so many devotee families are going under so much stress, and there is and that needs to be addressed. And for that, we need to spend time. We need to spend time, and we need to take care of the emotional needs of the family. It's very, very important, actually, because these are the big rocks in life. These are the big rocks in life, which we need to actually make sure, like the priority wise. We say that a priority wise, you need to put your big rocks first. Similarly, these are the big rocks, the emotional needs of family. If I ask you, how many of us have sat down with our family and asked this question: what is the purpose of a family? What is the goal of our family? Why are we together under one roof? Why has Krishna brought us all together? What do we mean to each other? How do we relate? How should we behave? These things. How many times are we discussing this? For example, you have grown-up children. You have daughter-in-laws in your house. Relationship between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. All these are important aspects. I've seen so many fractured relationships, so difficult to mend. So difficult to mend. So it's very, very important. It's just not that you chant your 16 rounds, read Bhagavatam every day, does not mean that you've done your Krishna conscious. Taking care of your family emotional needs is very, very important to actually do. And neglecting this aspect of our life, it will create a black hole. It will create a black hole in our lives, and that will devour all our energy, and we will not be able to do anything else properly. So it's very important that we take care of our family needs. This is also very important as a devotee. See, every devotee, everybody today will have some conflicts, right? Either with devotees, family members, our relationship at workplace, somewhere or the other. And it is very important that we spend time to repair that relationship. Relationship, every conflict which we have, or we should have a psychological closure. This is very important. For example, if today I have a argument with Sutta Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Prabhu? Yeah. Okay. No, because my internet is showing unstable. That's why.
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So, for example, today I have a fight with Sutta Prabhu. I should actually see that what can I do to actually repair that. How can I improve that relationship with him? It's very important. Why? Because then, if I do not improve that relationship, if I continue that conflict, what is happening? I am actually giving Sutta Prabhu rent-free mind space. I'm giving him rent-free mind space. Because every time I keep on thinking about him, keep on thinking about it. So it's not required. So and also as a devotee, you should make that first move. We should make that first move. Not try 5 times, 10 times, try 50 times. Say sorry, Prabhuji. Because we know that 99% of all relations should be healed and repaired. Probably 1%, cannot be healed, and we have to actually do a psychological closure. But doesn't matter. 5, 10, 15, 20. We need to actually have that relationships repaired. So this is very important. So apologize till that person understands. Apologize till that person understands. Because apology or forgiveness can only come from strong people. Only strong people can ask forgiveness, only apologies. It is said that the cruelty is the nature of a wicked person. Cruelty is the nature of a wicked person. But apology and forgiveness is the nature of a strong person. And and also Bhagavad Gita says that apology or forgiveness can be given by people only who know of goodness. And devotees, as devotees, we should actually aspire to be in mode of goodness and actually try to forgive. Okay, so this is very important to understand. Now we will come to the last aspect. I know actually I'm running out of time, but I will come to the last aspect, which is a very important aspect, which is the wheel of balance in our life. You see this balance? Okay, this is the rating which I've given to each of my aspects. So these are 8 things which are in our life, health, family, social life, work, money, home, travel, spirituality. Okay, so depending on how much balance is there, you will understand. You actually have to draw this, and actually see and color yourself and see where you are. This is actually I created, as only what you call as different relationships we have. For example, professional relationship, spiritual relationship, health, congregation role, family member, parent, and then if you are in yellow, you are underperforming. If you are in the middle part, you are an average, and you are an extraordinary. So you need to actually point yourself 1, 2, 3 like that, and make a web and see how your web looks. This is a self-evaluation one you do, right? And you understand, where I have to actually put more efforts, where I need to spend more time, where I need to focus. So you can create a balance in your life. So I have created one also for spirituality, spiritual life only. Okay, which is reading, rising up early, japa, arti, temple seva, program attendance, listening katha, donations. So where on different aspects, where are you? Are you underperforming? For example, are your reading is less? Are you underperforming in reading? Okay, where I need to focus on. Why don't you also actually? This is a very good self-evaluation tool. This wheel of balance it is called. So you can actually apply. It actually you can personalize it and apply it in your life. And you see where you need to focus on, and actually you can do that. Yeah. So this wheel of balance is also very, very important actually. Now we look at spiritual dimension. Very important. One of the spiritual dimension is to have a fixed time for each activity. Very fixed time for each activity. It is said actually, Amarendra Prabhu was saying in one class recently that Krishna actually decides on which house to steal the butter between the time period between 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. So he leaves her home early and he goes around Vrindavan, and which house today he's going to steal the butter, he will actually mark an X in front of that. And that activity he does between 3 to 7. Okay, so it is said that if you want Krishna to steal your heart, which should be supposed to be like a butter. Right now it is not, it's like a stone, but it's supposed to be butter. When you keep on chanting your rounds, it will actually be softer and be like a butter. If you want Krishna to steal butter from your heart, what you need to do, you also need to actually have a fixed time. For example, so that Krishna can come and also mark an X on your heart, so that he can come and steal your butter. Right? So 3 to 7 a.m. So have a fixed time. So chanting actually, one has to do early in the morning. Brahma Muhurta is what is recommended. But as I said, why Brahma Muhurta? Because mind is not cluttered. It is very actually, it's in a very good space. Your spiritual network is very high. You're able to connect to Krishna very easily. The environment is mode of goodness is very important to actually do. So that is have a fixed time for each activity. And for example, if you have DTs at home, DTs are like family members, right? They can be they are very accommodative. But at the same time, having a fixed time, for example, offering bhoga every day morning at 7:30, I offer breakfast prasadam or breakfast bhoga. I offer 1 o'clock, lunch. So when we do all that, what happens? You are actually demonstrating your love to your DTs, having that fixed time. They are our family members. They will accommodate you if you are late. But having a fixed time is very important actually for each Krishna conscious activity. Having reading, reading like for example 2 shlokas in the morning or 1 shloka before going to bed. This is like a fixed time actually you do. Yeah. Then chanting and other auxiliary services that, as I said, so one is Achman. For example, I was thinking, when you are actually at home, and you are actually doing DT service, what happens after some time? You take things for granted. How many times are you doing proper Achman, before you actually offer a arti, offer a bhoga? Are you doing that? Bhoga mantras, it's just not that you ring the bell and chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. No, all the bhoga mantras with proper consciousness we need to actually do, right? Then Mahaprasadam prayers. Before eating prasadam, How many times you are chanting the full prasadam prayers? Huh? We need to know that, because after some time, yes, in the beginning when you're in Krishna consciousness come, in the beginning, you are very, very enthusiastic. You all want to actually, do really nicely. But after some time, what happens? You take things for granted. You don't actually chant Mahaprasadam prayers. Only in the temple you chant because everybody else is chanting. At home, you don't chant the Mahaprasadam prayers. No, these are all the things which are important. Then discussing philosophy with family. After a class is after, as a family, you sit and hear one class, and then after that you discuss what is the important topics, what are the takeaway home takeaway lessons from this lecture. How should we apply in our life, what should we change in our life. huh? Be thoughtful. Ponder over verses, like when you read a verse in the morning, think about that verse. What is Krishna trying to tell us? What is the different aspects, we need to actually think about that. Then read stutis, like there are Gajendra stuti, there is Kyun Kunti stuti. You can see from the first chapter, you will see, Vritrasu. So continuous stutis are there. So read stutis regularly. In Balram Desh, we actually read one stuti every day. So it's a fixed day. Like for example, Rudra prayers one day, Gajendra prayers one day. So it's very important. Actually, it's very nice. And not only just read, also understand, meditate on those prayers. Actually, then chant, Narayan Kavacha, or like from the 6th chapter, or Gadendra Moksha from the 8th canto or the 6th canto. Chant these, because as I said, this body, even though is a vehicle, is temporary. We need this because it's the protection capacity. So read for your protection of your body, so that you can actually serve whenever, serve for a long time period, and you do not actually take service, but give service as much as possible in this moment. Yeah. So this is what we wanted to talk about, because spiritual dimension you always hear so much, all these aspects you have heard so much. So I'm going to keep it short on the spiritual dimension. I just do not want to spend a lot of time on this. You all of you know about this, but having the other aspects, other dimensions actually right, will help you to actually do the spiritual dimension well. Yeah. And devotees, plus lighten up. You need to have fun. Don't actually, Krishna consciousness is actually fun activity. It is a joyful activity, because we are Sachidananda, right? And any activity which we do on a Krishna conscious platform also is Sachidananda. It has to be fun. It cannot be stress. You should not be on stress, and should not be miserable. Do things what is in your capacity. Don't actually, yes, you need to be out of your comfort zone, but don't be in the stretch zone. If you're in the stress zone, it is very difficult, and you will actually, end up in a very miserable condition. Family time, very, very important. Every week, at least have some family time together. Spend some time, quality time together, sitting together, discussing about Krishna consciousness. Even also, for example, playing, for example, a game of snake and ladder, or a game of Ludo is good, very good actually, because it builds our relationship. Have at least one prasadam meal together. One prasadam meal, at least one together a week, once a week at least. It should be once a day, but if not once a day, at least once a week should have. Yeah. So we do actually, every Friday and Saturday, we as a family, we have a meal together here. And learn something new every day. Learn something new every day. It's very important to actually to do that. If you do not learn something every day new, as I said, in your professional life also, it will become a challenge. And there are so many online platforms available to learn so many things. For example, if you want to learn what is empathetic listening, how should I listen empathetically? So you can actually go, so many videos are there. There is universities, YouTube University, Coursera, Udemy. You need to upgrade your skills on a regular basis. And these courses are very cheap. It's not expensive, but you need to upgrade yourself. You need to learn every day something new. Yeah. So so this is the last slide, which side. See, everybody has a need. Right? Everybody, all of us here who has logged in here, everybody has a need, right? And everybody has a talent, because everybody is an individual, and Krishna has given that talent to you. Like for example, I might have a different talent than somebody else, but everybody has Krishna has given a talent, and everybody has a passion, or everybody likes something to do. For example, I like to do deity worship, or I like to listen to classes. And then there's a consciousness or conscience, which is there. Actually, all of us has conscience. So all these 4 circles put together is that we, and that voice which we need to find out. If you are able to find out that voice, our Krishna conscious life will be extremely joyful and fun, and we'll be able to achieve success at the end of our life, going back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Thank you very much for your time and patient listening. Sorry, actually, I took a little bit extra time than I was supposed to. But the topic was such that, some of the topics which we never speak in Krishna conscious classes. So I had to spend a little bit more time on those. And then I wanted to keep, the spiritual aspects short, because everybody knows about it a lot. So we can actually, discuss all the aspects separately also at some point in time. With this, I would like to, end my presentation. If you have any kind of questions or comments or corrections, please do so.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. This session this morning was very, very refreshing, very, very enlivening. It was just wonderful, just listening, to all the good points you made, all the good advice you give to us. For me, this session was one of the best I have heard, for a long, long time. I was trying to take notes all the way through, but I couldn't keep, pace with the notes. So I would really, really appreciate if, you could share those slides, the PowerPoint with us, just to keep,
Sure,
time, we could go it through. A few thoughts that came to my mind while I was just taking notes, and one was eating habits, eat to the rainbow, and all that. That was really wonderful. But I'm thinking that in our country we're third world and like that, and devotee might not able to afford, the rainbow. Even in our programs that we go to, I mean, big program that we are doing, and it's largely the carbohydrate, the rice and the white flour. And although we hear it over and over that it's not good, for health, it's just like, that's what we could afford, right? So I was thinking, along that line, and I very much appreciate, what you say. It makes all the sense for me. I mean, for myself, I don't have that kind of a problem because I grew a big farm and I could, afford the rainbow, because it's naturally part of my, my life. But I'm thinking, I have to say that many are devotees, cancer is a very, very important aspect of our life. And I was reflecting also while you were talking about the Goswamis, for example. I mean, we hear of extreme cases, just like Raghunath Das Goswami. I mean, he was just taking a little buttermilk. Some devotees will take, and I mean, they were so wonderful devotees, and they wrote so many books, and they were mentally functioning and everything. So I was just reflecting on on that aspect of it, and there are a few other points, but I guess I would like to allow other devotees to share their reflection on what you said. Even in terms of sleep, for example, we hear that the Goswamis will sleep just a few hours, every day. And they chanted, so many rounds. They were so focused and everything, and like that. So, I'm thinking loudly, while I listen to all the wonderful thing that you're saying, but these are like, some extreme cases. So, maybe you might want to comment, on that, and maybe after other devotees speak, if there's more time, I could, make a few other comments. Thank you so much. Over and over. It was like such a wonder. I didn't know how the time passed this morning, actually. Thank you again.
Thank you, Paramatma Prabhu, for your kind words. Actually, I will share the presentation with Sachisuta Prabhu. I have his number, so I can share it by WhatsApp, so he can share it with the group. As I said, on your point about the rainbow, I'll come back to you, but I would like to actually address the other point first about how the Goswamis would sleep less or eat less, and actually, so if you see, there's an incident which happened in Chapati temple in Bombay. Actually, one devotee actually went to complain to Radhanath Maharaj. He was a very thin devotee, and he was complaining that he wants to actually do fasting, Nirjal fasting on Ekadashi, but the temple president, who was at that time Devamrit Prabhu, or His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj now, was not allowing him to actually do it. So he complained to Maharaj saying that I want to do it, but he's not allowing. So Maharaj told him at that time that that what is best for you, Devamrit Prabhu knows, or His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj knows. So what he's advising, if you do, you will spiritually progress much faster than by actually following that austerity. So just to actually give you just a lighter moment for actually what you said, Prabhu, actually what Raghunath Das Goswami, or they are actually at a very different position where we actually like to follow them and not imitate them. We need to understand where we are situated, what is our level, and based on that, what is, as I said, everybody has a rhythm, right? So some devotees can manage with 6 hours, some devotees can manage 7 hours, but generally what I've seen is that that if you are able to, like from what I have seen myself now over the last 6-7 months, which I've started actually changing or transforming my life, and and the positive impacts which I had on my life, saying that if we are able to, at the end of the day, what is most important is that, is it helping me in Krishna consciousness or not? If it is not helping me in Krishna consciousness, then that activity should not be done. That should be avoided. So anukulyasa sankalpa pratikulyasa varjanam, that should be the principle for accepting any rules and regulation in our life. And remember Krishna and forget Krishna. That's what I said. That yes, you are actually, as I give an example of a devotee who lost his job here. What has happened is now his entire family is in trouble. All these things are happening because why? He actually overextended himself, trying to actually achieve something which is beyond his capabilities and his shamata, or his capabilities. So one has to understand what is your potential, what is your capability. Based on that, one has to act. But as I said, the underlying principle is that it should help you to progress and go closer to Krishna. If it is not helping that regulation, then that should not be done. So from my experience and what I've seen devotees around, that actually having a regulated sleep, like sleeping very early in the night and getting up early in the morning and being fresh, by 9:30, 10 o'clock, by 10, my day, the entire next day is very nice, very fruitful. So that's what I comment on that. In terms of rainbow, yes, I understand that it's not easy sometimes, but whenever it's possible, we should actually try to do that. And try to actually, for example, try to actually have as many varieties and reduce your intake, for example, on white flour and rice, these things, because it is going to actually affect this production capacity, to do devotional service for a long time. You need to be it's not like a 1 year, 2 year, 10 year kind of a kind of a commitment which we are taking, because as we take initiation, one of the commitment which we say is that we're going to help our Gurudev in spreading Krishna consciousness and helping him to preach Krishna consciousness and expand this movement of Srila Prabhupada. So it's very important for us to actually be in a state of mind. So whenever it's possible, we should actually try to do, and for whomever it's possible, we should actually try to do that. Yes, I understand. There are problems, or there are difficulties with devotees who are not able to actually access to a rainbow diet. But then whatever is healthy, try to eat that. Eat more sabji than rice. You actually change the proportion. Instead, the amount of rice you eat, and amount of sabji you eat, you have to actually reverse that. That amount of sabji you should eat, and rice should be eaten like sabji. So if you can, automatically your health should start improving. That's very important. Actually, can't eat 3 vegetables, but 2 vegetables, but that should be eaten more. I wanted to comment on, Prabhu. I don't know whether I actually answered your questions, but I just, reflect on your comments and thinking, yes, that's true. At the same time, we need to do whatever is best available, in service of Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, are there some other questions or comments from the body?
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Oh, sorry.
So,
Thank you very much. It was a very good session. I last also began to read about more how to what Prabhu explained. It's what I have read. So I'm very thankful to hear it from you also. And there was one part we often this time we sit after our computer, do things inside the house, but it's also also to tell it. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Sorry, Mataji, I couldn't hear you properly. I was having actually. Sorry. Can you read that for me, please?
Yes, sorry, Prabhuji. I was saying
Your
that
voice is breaking.
lately I also started to read about how to balance.
Okay.
I can write it.
So Mataji is going to write, I think, the question. Yes, Sanjay Prabhu, you want to speak by then, and then I will actually address Mataji later.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for this nice presentation this morning. To all the devotees, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I so enjoyed this presentation this morning because there is a lot of information or a lot of, you would have said that we do not normally hear in a Bhagavatam class or in a Sunday program or any other Hare Krishna programs. So thank you for this. And one very important thing is that we can see is that not only sadhana is important for our complete well-being, but also our diet, our exercise, and taking care of our family or our mental health also is very important, and how the relationship we have with the devotees. And you give that nice example. If there's a problem with you and Sati Sutta Prabhu, you try to mend that. And one thing as a Grihastha, I'm very, I don't want to say this openly, but I have to admit it. I may have a nice relationship with the devotees at the temple and outside, but at home with family, extended family, my Dharpatni here, sometimes she always complains that I don't have that, I don't spend that quality time with her. So, Hare Krishna, thank you very much for this.
Hare Krishna, Sanjay Prabhu, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, I think Mataji has sent me. Yes, Mataji is saying that sunlight also is very important. Yes, sunlight actually gives us vitamin D, and it's extremely important that morning sunlight, if you can actually bathe in that morning sunlight, it's very important, because if we are not having enough vitamin D in your body, then you cannot actually absorb other vitamins and your immune system can actually go for a toss. So yes, having natural vitamin D from sunlight, and sun is something which gives us energy, lots, and it is said that it is the god of health also, one say, because if you want to recover from good health, there's many people who actually pray to sun god. So yes, sunlight is very, very important. And considering corona situation, we spend a lot of time inside rather than outside. True, but at the same time, whenever we get a chance, for example, you're going to the terrace of your apartment building or terrace of your house, getting some sunlight in the mornings, early mornings, is very important actually. Otherwise, it can affect your health over a longer. So yes, Mataji, very important point you brought out. and I think very very valid. And as I said, it's very important because being Corona, it's natural, right? Because you go out and you actually get your health. But now you have to be conscious about it, that you're not getting enough sunlight. So let me actually go out and get enough sunlight. So you need to make a conscious effort of that also. Thank you very much, Mataji. Madhurila Mataji, Hare Krishna. So Sanjay Prabhu, also I liked your comment basically, and being honest and candid here, talking about your relationship at home. And I know everybody struggles actually. My wife also complains to me all the time. So I what I'm doing actually now is to actually making conscious effort every to actually to spend some quality time, talk to each other about things, and just have a conversation. So that's very important to have. And actually you'll see that that would help, because as I said, the bad times, that the family is the only one who is going to support us, who's going to be behind us, actually always as a support. Very important that we actually not neglect it. There was a nice article which was actually being shared in WhatsApp. What happened really in Corona is that that one person died, and he used to spend long hours at work. And they said that that nobody from his office even called to actually check on him when he had actually Corona and he passed away. Nobody even called to check even once. And he actually had given his entire life to actually working for that place. So we have to understand that all these professional relationships and all will not come for help during our most needed hour. It will be only our family. So we need to give priority to our family. That's very important, actually. Thank you, Maya Prabhuji, for your nice comments and suggestion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I'm Lakshmi Priya from Suriname.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for all of this, Prabhu. I really enjoyed it. It's actually what I really wanted to hear. As Prabhu said, it's not been spoken about very often. One of the points I would really want to hear something about is that of exercise. I go on walks and things like that, but I also am in a gym. And sometimes I feel a little guilty, like going to gym and wearing those clothes to the gym. And is it appropriate with other devotees and what they would say, things like that? Maybe if Prabhu could say something about that. Thank you very much.
Sure. Actually, I have been actually also started my gym. Actually, I lost a lot of weight before. If you see, I was actually much heavier before now, and I have actually started going to the gym. And as I said, we are not into the business of impression management. What we are into the business of actually changing our consciousness. That's what it matters. Externals don't matter much in terms of what you wear or what people think about you. What matters is between you and Krishna. So Krishna knows the intent behind actually doing all this. And I would actually recommend and actually encourage devotees actually go to the gym and probably train under a trainer, because for everything we need a guru, right? A guru actually tells you how to actually become spiritual, actually change your consciousness. Similarly, how to keep this body fit and well, but at the same time, you need to understand behind keeping our body fit is to make sure that we are able to practice, we are able to do our prescribed duties better. So Mataji, I think you should continue doing what you are doing. You should really not worry about what people say and externals. At the end of the day, you know internally and Krishna knows. So your relationship with Krishna is very clear and understandable. So I personally go to the gym also 4 times a week. I try, because now it's a lockdown here, so it's been closed for 3 weeks. But 4 times a week I try to and train with a trainer now. So which has helped me tremendously. I had a huge problem with my knee. Because I had a couple of surgeries. Now my knee is better. I don't wear any support while walking. I'm able to actually walk up the stairs. So I've been able to actually do much better. So whatever I spoke is basically on, based on my realization over the last 6-7 months. And when Baldev Prabhu asked me, will I be able to speak? I said, I can speak something of what I am trying to do, and has helped me immensely in my Krishna conscious life. My chanting has been the best over the last few months, all my life, in my lifetime, because I've been able to sleep on time, get up on time, I'm feeling fresh and healthy and with full of energy in the mornings times. So I'm able to chant my rounds better. I'm able to do work better, more effective. I'm spending less time in office. but actually able to do more, achieve more in office, because I'm able to go to the gym, and I'm able to actually regulate my life. So my humble suggestion and recommendation would be to continue, Mataji. Don't be discouraged, and this is very, very important for us. It is neglected quite often in our life, but we should not neglect this, and we should take it very seriously. And you will see the long-term benefits of you becoming a better devotee and your consciousness being better. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Sachisuta Prabhu, I think no more questions, so probably.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry, Sachisuta Prabhu, there's not much for, I think, things were related to Grihasthas and all that, so sorry about that. I was thinking that it's more a kind of Grihastha get together. So apologies for that. Thank you very much for actually tolerating me for the last 1.5 hours, 1 hour 40 minutes. And as I said, if there is any,
Haribol, Hare
if there is
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sharindra Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much for the great speech you gave. It was really something else. Actually, I was wondering, we devotees are accustomed to a certain lifestyle in Bhakti Yog, and we do our Krishna consciousness living based on what we have experienced from our peers and in ISKCON. So what you are presenting right now is really fresh and new regarding to the exercises and the nutritions, and basically I haven't experienced any negative sides of the way of how devotees are living the last 50 or 60 years. So what is my question to you is, according to Bhakti Yog, the life we are living and the goal we want to reach, how does this all how will it be add positively in our way of living? Because I cannot really agree to everything you have said, but commonly what you have said is what is being preached, like healthy lifestyle and healthy food. But how is this related to Bhakti Yog, and from what sources did you get, from what Vedic sources related to Bhakti Yog did you get this information? That is what I wanted to know.
Yeah. So Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So what I have said, actually, whatever I have said is to actually enable to do our Bhakti Yoga properly and nicely. So all these things are enabling. So the underlying principle is, as I said, Anukulyasa Sankalpa, Pratikulyasa Varjanam. So whatever is actually favorable for Krishna consciousness, you accept in your life. What is unfavorable for Krishna consciousness, you reject in your life. Right? Look at Srila Prabhupada's life. Yeah. How we had only, if you read Srila Prabhupada Leela Amrit, and understand what Srila Prabhupada used to do. He used to actually go for his morning walk every day. He would exercise, his morning walk was every day. His massages he would do every day, regularly. Especially when he was actually, later ages, he would never miss his massage, because massage is a very important therapy to cure yourself. So Prabhupada would actually make sure that he's actually eating a very balanced diet. For example, what Prabhupada would eat actually, sometimes, there are times when actually Prabhupada would actually, go over, but most of the time Prabhupada used to have a regulated life. His timing for lunch, his timing for, for dinner, his timing for what he eats at the time, it was exactly the same time he would eat. And he would eat a very balanced diet, never overeat anything. And he would actually do his exercise regularly, like his morning walks, his massages, everything. So that was Srila Prabhupada, what he was mentioning. And as I said, the important part of Bhakti Yoga is what's the fourth element, spiritual element, is to chant your mantras, do your kartika and everything. But for doing all that, if you are not able to do others properly, yeah, if you're not able to actually maintain this body well, then you become actually a liability to the devotee community, because you are taking service from that devotee community. Especially for a grahastha, a grahastha is actually spending a lot of time working outside, and he retires at 55, 60. And if you do not have a healthy body at that time, what are you going to do? How much service are you able to actually offer at that time? You will take more service than give up that service. So having a healthy lifestyle, healthy body is very, very important to actually have. And that is basically, that is basically what, if you see that, I have gave actually two references, from one from Bhagavad Gita, that one has to do a prescribed duty to be a perfect. If one has to do a prescribed duty, one has to have a certain, like I said, duty, the soul has to do your duty with this body, right? This body, soul is in this body. So the body has to be taken care if you want to do your prescribed duty. Without a good healthy body, you can't do your prescribed duty. And this is what Prabhupada says. And Prabhupada also says in the other purport that yes, there is some sense, there is self-preservation, which I quoted. That self-preservation is what we spoke about here. Prabhupada himself quotes in his purport that self-preservation is very important. If I do not self-preserve, what am I doing by eating wrong, bad food, by unhealthy food? Am I self-preserving myself? No, right? And you need only your intelligence to understand that. By Prabhupada says you need to self-preserve yourself in Bhagavatam. So if I'm not eating healthy food, if I'm not taking care of my body well, so am I self-preserving myself? I am not actually. I'm actually destroying myself, destroying my body. So we should not do. I am not saying that what devotees are doing till the last 50 years is not wrong. That is the core of bhakti yoga. That is the core, and that should be the core part of our life. But at the same time, these are enablers to do that well. And these are enablers to do well. And I am actually being guided also by a very, very senior devotee, the ISKCON Amritsar Temple President, His Grace Raghunath Prabhu, on all these aspects, where he has actually taken the essence of all these scriptures and actually giving it to us. So based on that, all these actually lessons which I have been actually learning under him, and which the lessons are same. You have to chant your 16 rounds early in the morning, right? You have to read scriptures every day for your mental aspect. Then you have to actually have good relationship with your devotees. That is also actually the part of our scriptures. So all these four things, which is there part of our scriptures, how do I do it better? That's very important. And for that, self-preservation is important. That's why I started my class with the two shlokas, which I took, one from Bhagavad Gita, one from Bhagavatam, to actually, say that what is actually, where are we trying to achieve and what are we trying to achieve through this?
Yes, Prabhu. That is very clear, the explanation. But I agree with you totally, and I also are looking forward to a lifestyle, some change, a lifestyle changing situation that can improve my health and my longevity. But we are also in a pandemic now. We cannot go for morning walks every day. We cannot mingle. We cannot socialize. So everything keeps building up, some kind of pressure. And we are not accustomed as devotees to do exercises every day. We could say yes, we appreciate it, but to do it is another thing. And to, how do you say it, to put it in your lifestyle, exercise every day. So I was just overviewing all the societies, and as ISKCON one of the societies, I think that we the devotees have the best health, overall the best health lifestyle. And in general, you don't see really unhealthy devotees. I have always seen enthusiastic and healthy devotees. Maybe it's something spiritual, maybe it's something mental, but also physical. Because if you have to wake up every day, 3:30 in the morning, that is also a tapasya, an austerity. It's also an exercise. And as you said, our Prabhupada has learned us how to deal in 24 hours every day. And if we do that, then I think we should be able to keep up a healthy lifestyle. So yes, that was what I have experienced. But what you have said is a totally different approach, and I hope that we can incorporate it in our life. But for me, it is difficult now. I will truly tell you that. Also, I read a letter that Prabhupada wrote to some disciple of his, saying that we can also live only on rice and dal for 3 months. It has all the nutritions. I don't know. I have never done that, but he has written that. So there are different approaches to different lifestyle. Maybe it was meant only for that disciple at that time, according to time, place, and situation. So yes, it's difficult for me to comprehend everything you have said, but I will try and let it sink in, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Sudha Prabhu, I have actually, it's a working day for me, so I have need to leave because we work here on Sundays. So
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
yes.
So yes, I would
Yes.
like to thank you very much on behalf of all the devotees here, especially the Bhakti Shastra students. And it has been very inspiring for myself, and I'm sure with all the nice feedbacks we are getting from the devotees, it was very it's a wake-up call, I would say, for many of us. Many of these things we know and we don't do, and it's sometimes it's so difficult, but the kind of way you lay out everything in a very nice pattern with the different aspects of the life of a devotee, family, work, spiritual life, and all that. So we're very grateful and thankful to you, Prabhu, and thank you so much for your time. It takes a lot of effort and sacrifice from our end, but we're very happy and fortunate to have your association this morning. We'd also like to thank Baldev Prabhu for inviting and connecting you with us. And we want to thank all the devotees who have participated, who have joined this morning. So hopefully in the future we can have more of your association. Jai. So
Sure.
Prabhupada ki
Thank you,
jai.
Prabhuji. Ki Jai. Thank you very